going on, everybody? Welcome to another live stream. We are back at it again for another Saturday night. Well, knocking my mic over. But welcome to the stream, everybody. As you can see from today's title, we are talking about five tips, and these are actually like just some of my favorite tips, but five of my favorite tips that I like to use in Davinci Resolve. So I'm not trying to waste no time. We're going to dive right into them. Let me just hit real quick so you know what to expect throughout the video. So you definitely want to stick around because I'm going to be hitting a lot of good points. I got a bonus tip for you at the end. But we're going to be talking about using the favorite effects panel, basically, in DaVinci Resolve. We're going to be talking about ripple editing, which is one of my favorite things to do in DaVinci Resolve, and I literally use it all the time. Copy and pasting attributes over multiple clips. We're going to also talk about editing multiple clips at once, which is something that I really like to use when I'm cutting B-roll specifically. So like for highlight reels, things like that. If you do like an event, you got like a lot of clips that's cutting to like a certain beat of music or something like that. This is a good way to do it. Deleting gaps, which is huge. And so all these tips are about basically helping you edit faster and edit, basically doing a lot of things at once, which is one of the biggest ways to save time. You want to cut out as many steps as possible. And to end it off, one of my most searched things on my channel that people are looking for that when they're searching on Google and for tips and things is zoom blur effect. So I want to show you an easy and quick way to add a cool zoom blur effect to a video. Perfect for music videos. I mean, really anything. If you want to create, you could use it to create transitions, whatever. If you want to, do like a punch-in type vibe on like a camera, like a little motion that wasn't there, but you want it to have like this cool organic feel. Now that's sort of organic, but you just wanted to have this cool feel and not be so static. And like if you use keyframes and it just kind of pushes in, it feels kind of robotic. Using the zoom blur effect is cool, and I'm gonna show you how to get to that. But we will be hitting that one at the end, so make sure you stay tuned for everything. All right. As always with these live streams, I will have Q&A. So if you have questions and I can hit them easily, I'll answer them and things like that. And I will engage with the chat and everything. But I will hit those at the end because I want to get through the main topics we're going to be talking about. But if you have questions, please feel free to ask. I will do my best to answer them. And if you are watching now, let me know where you're watching from. Give me, go ahead and shout out where you are, where you're watching from. And I'm just checking right now to make sure that it. All right, sounding good. So yeah, if you guys notice anything's off or anything, let me know. But let's get into it. All right, got DaVinci Resolve pulled up right now, and this is a project that I edited a while back. Well, not a while back, but basically I have another channel that I do with my brother called Barnes Bros TV, and basically we do entertainment content. Like we do content around the entertainment industry. So our main content right now is a lot of live streaming. So you can catch us usually on Thursday or Friday nights, live streaming, talking about pop culture, things like that. But we also do like comedy sketches and skits and other things like that as well. So definitely check out Barnes Bros TV. But this is one of the skits that we did recently. So I'm going to kind of be doing some stuff here. So for effect number one, what we're going to be doing is talking about, it's not really like an effect per se, but it is a tip that will help you access all your effects easily. So basically, keep it straightforward. You want to go over to the left hand side here, and you want to go over to effects. Make sure that effects is selected because you won't see what I'm about to do if not. You have favorites tool, and you see how you got like this tool. So basically what it will do is show you the categories of what has been favorited. So I recently updated the DaVinci Resolve, or I re-downloaded it on this computer, one thing, so not all of my stuff is saved. I have to kind of do that still, so actually I might do that now. Get the ones I haven't put back in. But basically, you'll see here at the bottom, you see how you have toolbox, all your different categories here. Within effects, you have toolbox, open effects, and audio effects. But here at the bottom, you see favorites. And you can kind of hit the drop down. what are these things called? Carrots or like, I don't know what those things are called with a little drop down thing. And it'll show you your effects here, and you can see them in the list view if you prefer looking at things that way. But as you can also see over here in the panel, uh, you can see the effects listed here as well. So you can have like a visual, and it just shows you everything. But it still keeps it categorized, so which is kind of cool. So you can see what type of effect it is. So this is an effect I use usually if I'm doing some type of YouTube video, or I don't even use this one that much anymore. But this was one I used to use a lot, and you know, just like a simple effect, like a transition effect. So you can just grab it and drop it onto your footage. And now good old Bonja Bros flavor.
So definitely we're going.
That's the effect I added, which is cool because I didn't have to. Let's come off of favorites so you can see what this would normally look like. Oh, it keeps the fact that I did that. I'll just open everything up. You'd have to come over here and be like, all right, that's a video transition, and where is that at? I think it's over here. Is it shapes? No, let me try to remember where. Okay, here's foreground. It's highlight because you know I was on it before, but you have to kind of scroll through all this. You could also type into the search bar. That's another way to find effects too, you know, easily. So I could say foreground. But let's say you forgot the name of it too. Like I would have known what I wanted. I may not remember what it's called all the time, but that's why I like having that because it's almost like a toolbox. This says toolbox, so no, that's not the same thing. But I'm just saying it's like your favorites. It's like your personal bag that you can go to and say, all right, I know I always like to use this particular effect. And to basically favorite things, all you got to do is, let me just pick something. Let's say there's a particular title I like to use that I know I'm going to use all the time. One of my favorite, this actually is one of my favorite ones. I haven't used it in a long time, but I used to use this thing all the time. Digital glitch, especially when I was doing music videos a lot back in the day. It's super easy. You just hit the star, and just like that, it jumps over to your favorites panel. And now you come over here, you see a Fusion titles category pops up, and then digital glitch. So the more Fusion titles I add, you'll see more start to populate in here. Excuse me. So let's go back to video transitions. Why did I say like that? Transitions. And then, what was that, a title? Let's go to titles, statement. Let's just start hitting some of these. Stretch, boom, boom. Let's just hit a couple. All right, go back to my favorites, and now you can see in that Fusion titles, they're starting to populate. And now maybe I'm like, you know, I barely use this thing. Let me start to get rid of these. You can literally just click on the star, and it'll take them away. So that is a super cool thing to use, and it makes it super easy to, oh shoot, what's up, Slayton? What's up, bro? He texted me. I just shouted him out. But yeah, so basically all you got to do is you just favorite things like that, and it makes it super easy to get the things, and that's why I like to use it, especially like if you are editing different types of videos, or you know, whatever you're doing. If you're using similar effects all the time, it's smart to make it easy for yourself to get places. All right, let's go ahead. I think I said enough about that. Let's go ahead and move on. If you have any questions at any point, feel free to ask them. I'm just checking the chat to make sure. Okay, nothing yet. All right, ripple editing. This one takes a little time to set up, but it's worth it. This is definitely hands down one of my favorite, probably my favorite thing to do. Davinci Resolve is to use this. Let me make another timeline. This video is already released on our channel, but I like to keep things. I don't like to mess with. I like to have a record, basically. So I like to duplicate my timelines and make copies so that way I can play around with stuff, but then also know that my main timeline is still good. So I'm gonna just call this one live stream project, whatever. Okay, so we can do whatever we want in this one because we're still good over there. All right, so ripple editing. So I think the easiest way for me to explain why this is important is first to show you like the process of cutting and editing. If you're a pro, this may not be that big of a deal for you, but if you're new, it's a big deal. And a lot of people have said that they really like this. All right, let's just go as basic as we can. I'm not even going to use keyboard shortcuts right now because I want to demonstrate for you what I'm doing. So whenever you want to do editing or make edits to things, we got this, a lot of that stuff can happen right here. The way your mouse operates, basically. So we have this razor tool here, which is called Blade in Davinci Resolve. I think it's called Razor in Premiere, but Blade edit mode. So as you can see here when you highlight it, B is also the keyboard shortcut for that. So if you hit B, it will pull it up, or you can just come over here and click on it. Once it's red, that means it's selected. So you just kind of come down, and wherever your razor is, you see this red line that pops up on your clip here. That's where you're going to be basically making your cut at. So I made my cut there. I made another cut here. So this is where it's like, let's just say this is the edit I'm trying to make. And if you want to do the video and the audio, or if you had multiple, like, let me just kind of show you real quick. If you had multiple things here, you could, let's just do something like this. If you go B for B mode, hit shift, is it shift? Now, how do you do that? I haven't done it this way in so long, I don't even remember how to make this work. All right, well, just ignore that because I don't remember. I haven't done it this way in so long, so I don't even know how to make that work. All right, let's go back. Let me stay on task here. If you're trying, okay, that's what I did wrong. You highlight it. Here we go. What in the world? This is not working right. I wonder if I changed. Probably because I changed my. Okay, that's right. My default keyboard is not the same as the default, so I can't show you that way. But anyways, to get back on track, let's just say you're making your edit. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 clicks right there. And now I want to get rid of this. Highlight it, delete it. Now I want to grab everything. And I'm going to do this quickly. But if you want to grab everything to the right of your playhead, you just hit Alt Y. And it grabs everything to the right of your playhead. And then you just A to go back to your arrow. Slide it over. So that was like what, 5 or 6 actions that we did right there. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it's like 6 different actions, which is not a big deal, but for that, but as you're editing for over a long timeline, let's just say, you editing, like I edit professionally documentary films, and I'm editing 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, at least, sometimes more than that. So I don't want to do that every time I got to make a cut or change something or anything like that. So I'm going to try to do this in a way to where it makes sense. So let's do this. I'm going to make some different. I'm going to change the colors here so you can kind of see. I want to make sure you guys can visually see what's happening when I'm making these changes. It'll be easier to explain what I'm doing. All right, so let me just show you what ripple editing does. So this is all one thing. I just, cut it up. But let's just say I'm like, all right, this section here, this lime green part is a little bit too long. And I know I need it to be shorter. But instead of doing all that stuff I had to do, all those extra clicks, and then switch back, and then I delete it, and now I want to grab everything and then pull it over. What you can do is save yourself all that time and move your playhead. And if you hit, the keyboard shortcuts are already mapped for this in Davinci Resolve. I changed them for myself, personalized them. So these aren't the keyboard shortcuts that Davinci Resolve has automatically, just so you know. So you have to go to Davinci Resolve's keyboard customization to actually see what this is, and I will show it to you. But basically, I map this to Q and W, which is how I think most people do it. So I want everything to the left of my playhead to go away. This is all I want of this lime green. When I hit Q, you see how everything just went whoop. It made the cut I wanted, but it also ripple deleted, basically pulled the timeline over. So what took me 6 clicks essentially before, 4 or 6 clicks before, I did in one. I guess you could say two if you move your playhead, so two. But really, the one keystroke I had to do that. Now let's say I'm like, okay, cool. This is too long. I only want the beginning of this. Well, the one that's pink or violet, whatever this. I think this was pink. Um, Now I want I did before. I did everything to the left of the playhead was Q. Everything to the right of the playhead I want to go away. Well, not everything to the right of the playhead, but everything of the right till the next cut. So this is why I did the color, so it makes sense. So all of this won't go away, just the clip I'm on. So watch this. I'm hitting W. So now that pink went down and everything came closer. So that's what ripple editing is. And that's why I like it so much, because I showed you before how long it took me to do those edits. And you see how quickly that went. So instead of doing this, I think I had it. So I'm like, okay, I just want this. And you might say, that's really not that bad. You know, it's not taking me that long to do all that. And I'm kind of cheating because I'm doing a keyboard, a keyboard shortcut. Slide that over. Then I'm like, okay, all this I want to go away. So let me go grab my blade tool. And I am being obnoxious about how long I'm taking to do this, but I'm just doing it to prove a point, because there are other faster ways to do even that, but still not bad. It's not like that's like forever, but all I'm saying is that's definitely something to help you speed up your workflow when you're editing for hours and hours and hours. You just want to have as little amount of clicks as possible. Now let's go up to keyboard customization so I can show you. So basically, you just want to click on, I'm on Mac, so that's why it looks the way it does. It'll be a slightly different on PC, but you kind of go to the same places. You want to go to keyboard customization after you click on, the Davinci Resolve menu thing. And once you're here, this is a good thing. I would suggest doing this anyway. I guess another bonus tip: learn keyboard shortcuts, and you can look them up from other YouTubers. You can Google them, but you also can just go to the keyboard customization page yourself and just familiarize yourself with them. Like, just look and see what they already have. And you can always go in and remap them. You can customize them the way you want them to. So you see I have this, it says Denzel's DR18. I made this keyboard shortcut back in DaVinci Resolve 18. So I'm not on DaVinci Resolve's default. I'm on mine. So let's go to DaVinci Resolve's default real quick so I can show you how it already has the ripple effect set up here. So let's see, I should have ripple edit. Here it is. Ripple cut. Is it this one? Let me go back to my other page because it names it a little bit differently. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And then basically I'm searching to find the one I'm looking for. And trim edit. Here we go. Ripple cut. Not that one. Select the trim, the timeline. Sometimes I forget because I don't come to these things that often. So this is a good refresher for myself as well. Where's this at? Clip. I think it might be in here. Playback. I might need to refer to one of my old videos myself to refresh myself on where to find this at. Let's see, trim. Okay, here we go. I found it. Okay. All right, so yeah. All right, so this is good. We figured it out together. Okay, so once you're on keyboard customization, you want to go to the commands panel, which is in the middle here, and go to trim. So you go to trim, and then you come over here, and then you scroll down until you find ripple. And this is what I was doing. So you find ripple, and you had end to playhead and start to playhead. I wish they're saying it the way they're saying it is the proper way. So it's the start of the clip to the playhead, and then the end of the clip to playhead. So it's kind of confusing, but Q was to the left. So start, so basically everything to the left of the playhead. So the start of that clip to the playhead is what we want to delete. And then on the W, how I have it mapped, basically on the right of the keyboard. So of the playhead. So basically it's the playhead, and then from the end of the clip, delete everything from that end of the clip to where the playhead is currently right now. So that's how it works. If you go to the default keyboard, and then same place, trim, and we come down to ripple. This is why I changed it, because it's so complicated. And this is actually how it is in Adobe Premiere, which is, I like the way that they actually have it already pre-set up. I don't know why Davinci Resolve did it this way. I'm sure they use Q and W for something else. In fact, I know that they do use Q and W for something else, because I had to turn it off of what it was before. But that's the cool thing, because you can change it however you want. So it's Shift Command bracket, and then start to playhead is Shift Command and then left bracket. But you can leave it like that if you want to. That was just too much for me. You can click on that plus button to add a command, so then you can hit like Q. The problem is it's already assigned to something else. So let me just pick something random. Let me just say, okay, that's assigned to something else too. Let me hit Shift Q. Good Lord, everything is already picked by something. Okay, I'm doing Z. So I did Shift Z, and then you can hit another one. I'm gonna hit Shift X, and basically start to playhead is now Shift Z, and then end to playhead is now Shift X. I'm just showing you how to do it. You can make it whatever you want to make it, and then you will go ahead and hit save. And I would suggest, naming it something different. But if I wanted to save it, I could say, whatever. I'll say test 1 or something. Hit OK. And now that's your personalized keyboard shortcut that you can then export and share with other people. You can export. I export it and I'll save it elsewhere, like on like a hard drive. So that way when I'm going to edit, if I go editing somewhere else, or I get a new computer, or I need to move to a different computer, all I got to do is grab my keyboard shortcut and load it up on that computer in Davinci Resolve, and it will operate how it's supposed to operate. So anyways, that's that. So I'm going to go back to my keyboard so I don't get all messed up. But that's the cool thing about using keyboard shortcuts that I really, really like. So that was that one. Let's see, we have a comment here. Let's see, what setup do you have for your computer? I just started with Premiere, and I'm looking into getting a more official setup instead of my phone. All right, thanks for the comment. So if you're using a phone, probably the setup I have now might be good for you. This is my home setup, so it's not as good as what I use for work, but I'm editing currently on what is this? Not an iMac. It's a Mac Mini. It's the Mac Mini M1. Is the Mac Mini with the M1 chip processor. So I would suggest using the M1 because Davinci Resolve did a lot of, specifications and, updates and setting it to, for Apple computers to the M1 I think up to the whatever M2 and M3 as well. But, so they give good support for those chips. So if you use, I think this Mac is, at this point, you probably can get one, I'm sure, for well under $1,000. I don't even know how much, but if you don't need anything super crazy, and if you've been editing on your phone, you're just trying to take a step up, this probably would be a good step up for you, probably. I mean, I don't know what type of videos you're going to be editing, but using this is probably good. For me, this isn't the best for all my projects. Like I said, for the type of work I do professionally, I have a whole super crazy rigged out PC that I have. So, when you start doing crazier graphics and heavy color grading stuff and you're using crazy huge files, it's better to have something, super powerful. But if you don't need anything crazy powerful, and I've done a lot with this, I actually have pushed this machine quite well, and this is the 8 gig one. So I would suggest get as much RAM as you can. Like I said, I've done pretty well. I've done all right with this one. Like it's getting towards the end of its life now, and I definitely can see it chugging a lot. But like if editing smaller videos, stuff for YouTube, it's not bad. I've been able to edit weddings, music videos on this thing. So, all right, moving on to the next topic. All right, so this one is good. Copy and pasting attributes. So let's say, you got multiple multiple things happening here. So let's just say I got these shots of my brother here, and these shots of me are closer. So let's just say I'm like, you know what? I want this to be closer up on him. I go ahead and make my changes, and this is going to be good because you can. Once I do this, the annoying thing would be to once I've resized this to have to memorize what I did, and now do this every time his video pops up if that's what I want. That would be very annoying because I have to come in every time, memorize what I wrote here. Because you can copy, and this is before I learned what I'm about to show you. This is how I used to do it. I would go in literally and copy each thing to be sure I had it exactly right because I didn't want to mess up. It's like I gotta make sure I get it exactly right. Oh my Lord, this is hurting me just to do this for a demonstration. And then okay, then I'm come over. Oh my, I can't believe I used to do this. But hey, look, I was just starting out, and I didn't have anybody to go to ask for help. This is me first starting Davinci Resolve, and I had to figure it out on my own. And there were a lot of, oh my Lord, there was a lot of, because I switched from Adobe Premiere back in the day. I think it's like 4 or 5 years ago now at this point, probably 5 years ago that I switched. No, I guess it's 6 years ago now at this point. But yeah, so what I just did there, you can do that, but you see all these shots. So every time this shot popped up, I had to do what I just did. That would be way too much. So let's go ahead and reset this. Let's just do that. And what I'm going to do, I see I have a comment here, so let me pause real quick. Thanks for the heads up on it. I was looking into the MacBook Air with the M1 chip in it, and yeah, more cinematic kind of vlogs. So, yeah, the MacBook Air is cool. The MacBook Air can start lagging a little bit, I noticed, and you lose inputs. That's the one thing. So if with the MacBook Air, you only get like, I guess it depends on which one you're getting. If you're getting like a newer one, it might be different. But like they usually only have like 2 USB-C ports. So if you need to hook up to multiple monitors and do stuff, you might want to look to getting a desktop. But if you need to be mobile with a laptop, you definitely can do it. I would just say the Airs tend to be even a little bit slower than this one, at least in my experience. But like I said, you can, because like I know like my wife edits. My wife is editor too, and she edits on a MacBook Air, and she has like podcast clients. She has social media clients. She does a lot of editing for social media people, and she has a lot of footage and videos she has to do. I know I have heard her complain about it slowing down, so she's also at a place to where she wants to upgrade because she's getting more and more clients, and she's doing a lot more projects. So if it's for personal stuff, and you don't need a lot of crazy heavy workload or demand, you're not doing crazy effects and stuff. Oh yeah, okay, so my wife just actually dropped a comment talking about it. She said, I edit on my MacBook Air and I'm impressed with how fast it is, but it does still lag sometimes. So yeah, so from her experience, she edits professionally as well for content creators and podcasters and stuff. So yeah, and if you want to see type of work you can check out her. She's on YouTube. Check her stuff out if you want to see how her videos turn out. And she edits on the MacBook Air. Okay, so let me see, where was I at? Okay, yeah, so let's go ahead and show how to copy attributes over multiple clips. So this is super easy. Instead of doing that complicated workflow that I just did in the inspector, copying my zoom in position over all these clips one by one, all you got to do is hit Command C, because I'm on Mac. I think it's Control C if you're on PC. Go over to the one well, actually, let me do it like this. I'm gonna just click. I want you guys to see this. I'm gonna just pick randomly. Let's just do this. Do that one. That one. Is this one? Okay, yeah, I got it. I can do it like this. So I'm just highlighting all the clips I need to punch in on. That one got it already, but just for the sake of demonstration, let's scroll over. There's another one. Okay, and let me just slide all these up. I want you guys to be able to visualize what I'm doing. So these are all the clips I want to affect. And let's see, let me grab another one. Let's grab a couple more. It doesn't matter. I just want you guys to get I want the weight of what we're doing to hit you a little bit. Okay, let me just slide all these up. All right, so as you can see, what am I trying to do? Okay, give myself some more space here. So everything that's kind of up here floating above the rest of everything else in the timeline, these are the clips, everything that's highlighted red. These are the clips that we want to affect. So what we're going to do is, now that we have all these selected, we're going to hit on Mac again. So it'll be different on PC. It might be the same. I'm not positive. You hit Alt V. It's almost like you're hitting Command V for paste, but you hit Alt V, and it pulls up the paste attributes window. And this is cool, and it tells you how many clips you have selected. So it says what you're pulling it from. So, the name of that file, and it shows you 9 video clips is what I have selected. And it actually will show you the name of all those clips. So this also is cool, because if you're trying to add the same effect, which is what you most likely would be doing, I say most likely, but that's not true. You could be adding this to everything. It doesn't matter. You know what you're doing. It's just that I happen to be doing something like position. But let's say you wanted to move color correction over, you can do it to everything. But I'm just showing you that this is another visual aid for you to check up against if you wanted everything to be the same. Okay, yeah, I got all the same clips selected. So basically, you just tell it what parameters of that clip you want to copy. So you can say, I want to copy the position, I want to copy the zoom, I want to copy the scale, the X scale, the Y scale. And then you can say, if there was some other effect on, like audio effects, you can grab those. If there was there was a flip effect, whatever all the video attributes you did within the inspector, or if you added an effect on it, or whatever the case may be, you can copy those. So I'm going to take off the color correction because that's on everything already. So all I'm going to do now is hit apply. And you'll see it pop up on one of the clips I'm highlighted on here. I'm going to hit apply. So that same one that I added, I grabbed from that original clip, it pasted it to everything. So now I can look at all these and see, that's so cool. I just did that same edit to 9 clips all at one time. So I selected the ones I wanted and added it to it. And this probably going to be doubled up now because, oh no, I guess it's not. Instead of me having to, like I showed before, go in one by one and match these settings like that in the transform panel of the inspector, all I had to do is paste attributes. So that's a game changer. And when I figured it out, I was like, my gosh, I can't believe I did not know how to do this sooner. So hopefully that helps you guys who are just starting out. Save yourself the headache that I had to deal with. Okay, moving on. We're going to talk about editing. I always have a hard time naming this one, but I've demonstrated this in the past with B-roll clips. And I feel like that's the case that works the best, and this actually is pretty good. So we have some B-roll here. This is a little montage situation, and I didn't have I was kind of timing out to what was being said. So I was timing out to whatever we said something. Basically, I was showing it basically. But I'm gonna just grab these real quick and move them down. So let's pretend like, we're not trying to, we're only timing them up to a beat or something. And let's pretend like, all right, this is all the stuff we got. And let's say like, all right, I've made my selections. These are the B-roll clips I want, but I know that I want them all to only be like 1 second long. Let's say that. Let's just say we're going to do 1 second. Or I want them all to be the same length. Let's just say that. So one way to do that, which could work, but it's kind of tedious, is this is the length I want. I'm going to use this as my marker, as my ruler, and now I'm going to go through and line it up over each one, make sure it matches up, and I'm going to cut and delete and do all this, and then I'm going to do that and move over, and you can see where this is going. So totally doable, and a lot of you may do stuff like this, already, but there's a much faster way to go about it, and that's what I used to do all the time. And again, it was when I figured this out, I was like, my gosh, that changed the whole game. All right, so these are the clips we want. We want them all. This only works in this case if you know what you want them all to be. Let me pause real quick. We have a comment here from Chris. Let's see what we got. You like Davinci more than Premiere? Yes, I do. I personally like it more, but I do edit in Premiere also. But if I had to choose one, I would choose DaVinci Resolve because I also color grade. So it's just easier to be all in the same project. I move between both now professionally. I'm a documentary filmmaker, film editor full time. So when I'll edit a project in Premiere, that's what the company I work for uses that. So I have to use it because everyone uses. So I edit in Adobe Premiere, but then when I'm done editing, I then do the whole pipeline process, moving it from Adobe Premiere over to DaVinci Resolve to do my color grading, shoot it back to Premiere. But personally, on my personal projects, freelance projects, everything else I do, I edit in DaVinci Resolve. The reason why I started doing that was because I was tired of paying for the monthly subscription, and I was like, there's got to be some other platform out there that doesn't do this. DaVinci Resolve, you can edit in DaVinci Resolve for free, and I did the free version of DaVinci Resolve for years, and I even paid jobs. I did that, and it wasn't until recently that I bought the studio version because it's like I was finally at a place where I was like, there's features that I'm starting to want to use a lot more that I need professionally, so I did it. But I went for a very long time on the free version, so it's good. Once you learn, it can be a little bit of a learning curve coming from Adobe Premiere, but once you get into it, it's not a big deal, and it's fine. I thought people freak out about it, but it's cool. Let's see. Have another comment. Talisman's Life. Hey, just arrived. What are the main keyboard shortcuts you use? Oof, that's a loaded question. I use a lot. Okay, so the ones, like the one I talked about before was Ripple editing. I use that one a lot. I like how I cut. I make it to where I can make a cut at where my playhead is. And I have that set to C. So wherever my playhead is and I hit C, it makes a cut. And then I think I made delete D, so I didn't have to move my hand all the way over to the actual delete key. I used to use Ripple delete a lot, so I'll hit Command D. But I don't use it as much anymore now because I use Ripple editing, which I have mapped on my keyboard as Q and Y to Ripple edit left and right of the playhead, basically. And what else do I use? I'm sure I use something else. I've mapped a lot of my own personal keyboards because I like to edit in a way to where I never move my hands. So I like to have everything on my left hand handles the left side of the keyboard, basically. So I mapped a lot of stuff to where I never have to move my hand over, and I never wanted to take my hand off my mouse and have to come over here and do something. So I mapped all my keyboard shortcuts that I use all the time in a way. And actually, yeah, I completely did it in a way to where I only edit with my left hand. Because I realized I was like, someone might say, oh, it's not a big deal, but I literally edit every day, 8 hours a day, sometimes more than that. So I was like, those little minutes add up, and I was tired of taking my hand off my mouse and moving over here. So I wanted to be completely like left hand handles all the keystrokes, right hand stays on my mouse. Guy, you think I've been using Premiere but lots of guys using Davinci. Yeah, I mean Premiere's. I give Premiere. I like to rag on Premiere just for the fun of it. I rag on it a lot, but Premiere is fine. I mean, Premiere at this point is industry standard. I don't think it's going to necessarily last forever, but I will say this, and I'm gonna get back to the point. So sorry for derailing a little bit here, but I like that comment. I wanted to kind of talk about it. I believe that competition is good. So I don't think that fanboying. There's fun to having a fanboy thing, and we have fun with the whole like, oh, Premiere versus Resolve and Final Cut, blah blah blah, all that stuff. But the fact that we have multiple things to choose from and that we can bounce around is good because each platform is making the other one better. So I feel like for a long time, Adobe Premiere had it wasn't a true monopoly. I'm not going to say that, but I'm just saying it was like complete market share domination. And well, that's not even true either because you also have Avid. But anyways, I think that having competition is good. It makes everybody stay honest. Everybody have to keep innovating. And I actually like the fact that I've been seeing more innovation as of late from Adobe Premiere. So I see that they're looking at Resolve and they're trying to improve, and then Resolve might look at them and try to get things better. And I just think it's better when nobody's just resting on their laurels. All right. So we got some more comments here. Have you ever used Enhancer considering the purchase or subscription? Man, you guys are live in the chat today. I appreciate all the comments. I actually really like Enhancer, and I do have it. And you got me about to jump over to Enhancer, but I'm going to stay locked in. But I do like Enhancer. I might have a discount code. I'm going to check. If I do, I'll drop it in the comments. Because I did a review for them at one point. And I'm not they don't pay me or anything like that. I'm not like sponsored by them, so it's not like it's. Don't worry. If you don't use them or not use them, it doesn't do anything for me. But I don't even know if it's still active at this point. But I might have a discount code or something, or if you want to check it out, I'll see. And like I said, it was so long ago when I did it, it might not even work anymore. But I like it. I don't use it all the time, but I do like it when I'm doing film stuff, when I want to get that film look. All right. So basically, let me just show you guys this really quickly. We're talking about editing multiple clips at one time. I kind of showed you, like, if you're trying to cut all these down to be the same length and how you would do it the annoying long way of cutting it and then using one of these as like a ruler and then saying, this is the length I want all these clips to be, and then pulling it over here and then cutting that one, boom, and then go like that and then put it over here and then cutting that one, boom. You can do that. That's how I used to do it all the time. But a better way to do it is to select all of them. And we're just going to pick a time. This will be based on you and your project. And you'll know the reasons why this works for you. But let's just say we want this all to be, I'm sorry. So I'm going to highlight all of that, right click, then I'm going to hit change clip duration. And you can put time or frames in, which is cool because you might know by frames what you want to do. I'm going to just use one of the presets and I'm going to just hit 1 second. And then this is the cool part. I love this so much. So this is one of my favorite ones. You hit change. And like literally it cut everything down to 1 second. So now that just saved us so much time. Now here's the part 2 to this tip. And this is technically tip 5, but it's called delete gaps. Because I mean, when I first figured this out, I was like, that's cool. But now do I have to now grab all these clips and close these gaps? Because that's cool that I did that. But now this is going to be annoying because I got to do all this. Again, I used to do stuff like this all the time. Better way to do it, though. I'm going to highlight everything. Let me move this one over a little bit. I'm going to highlight everything. Boom. We're going to go up to, is it edit or is it file? Sometimes I get mixed up here. It's edit. So go up to edit. You're going to come scroll on down, delete gaps. I'm just showing you this here, but you can also see that's, is it Alt G or Command G? That's not Command G, that's Alt G. Click it. There's no more gaps. So that for me was a game changer. And I remember editing this. It was like a highlight reel or something like that. And I figured that out. And I had the beat mapped out and I had it timed out. So I knew if I just made all those clips the same length that they were going to fit right. And I had the clips in order of how I wanted them. And I was like, oh man, I gotta edit these down now. I did that, and then I was able to literally grab all that and drop it in place. And then I had my 90% of my edit done. I imagine it just like B-roll clips. You like it's like maybe like a conference or something like that, or a wedding, or wedding might not be the best case, but like you got the moments of the clips you want. That's the one thing I will say though. If there's specific moments in the clip, it might not work perfectly for that unless you have it kind of already mapped out. A bonus tip though, because I can't help myself, and then I'm gonna come back to the chat. Um, if you want, if you wanted to get the time right, but the moment still wasn't what you wanted, let's say it's like this isn't the moment I want of him. I can come over to the trim edit mode tool. Click on that. You can also hit T. And then I'm gonna show you this will kind of dynamically change based on its position. And this is called, it's called, basically I'm gonna click it. You see how like the bracket has arrows on the left and right of the side of it. But then if you hover over the top of the clip, essentially, it's in the middle. So basically you grab it, it's showing you, if you look at the top, you can basically scrub through that clip. So you remember, this is like the moment he was grabbing the glasses, but let's say I want his eyes bigger. Now when I come back to it, that's where it is. So that is, using the trim edit mode is a good one. So I just gave you guys a bonus tip in there. It can take a little bit of time to get used to it. It's not janky at all. It's like, well, at least for me anyway, when I first saw it, it was weird seeing all the boxes pop up like that, because it basically just saves you the time instead of having to scrub through and then grab your part that you want here or something and then slide. You know what I mean? I feel like you guys get it. But anyways, that's one thing you can do. Okay, so that's that. We're gonna move on. So we got those two, and I gave you guys a bonus one. Premiere calls it, what does Premiere call it? I wish I had the keyboard here. It's blanking in my mind. What I just showed you guys is called, trim, what is the slip? The slip tool. I was like, oh my gosh, it's slipping my mind. That's not what they called it. It was like the trim edit mode. They might call, I'm not sure. I think it's just the trim edit. It's just different versions of it. But if you come from Premiere, it's the same as like using the slip tool. Okay, let's see what we have here. You find going live helps with drawing in new viewers. I do lawn care and snow removal, self-employed business video stuff, and have been considering going live when out doing snow removal. I think so. I think it's cool. I've been recently getting into live because I've been doing YouTube for a while, but at least with live, it's easy to get the content out, and then you can also kind of clip it out later. So I like that aspect of it, and you get live engagement with people. So like, for example, all of you who are commenting right now, I'm able to talk to you guys right now live. So that's the aspect of it that's cool. And especially like what you just said, if you have a niche, which I think is cool, that it isn't something that is oversaturated with live stream. I think it's a smart thing to do, even if you don't have a big audience yet, because you'd be like the first, like a pioneer. Maybe some other people are doing it, but it doesn't hurt. If it's not, for example, what I mean, gaming is super saturated. Not saying that you couldn't do gaming videos, but I mean, I think most of us probably have seen or know people do live stream gaming. That's like a lot of people doing that. But if somebody does what you do or watches your videos and you just want to see it live streamed, you probably would be like have a huge part of the market share if people are looking for that and you're one of the only ones doing it. I don't see a whole lot of people live. I'm not saying I've never seen it. I have seen people do live streaming editing, but I don't see it like all the time. So that's why I'm like, I kind of felt like that was something that maybe people aren't doing a lot. At least maybe not in DaVinci Resolve. Like I said, I know I have seen people do it. I'm not saying I've never seen it. It's just it doesn't seem oversaturated. So hopefully that made sense. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on to our last topic here. And I'm totally down to have a Q&A. If you guys have any questions about DaVinci Resolve, let me know. And basically, okay, cool. So we got that. What do I want to do this on? Let's just say, I'll do it on this. Let's just say one of us says something. So this is a part of me. Like I said before, me and my brother do have a YouTube channel together, Barnes Bros TV. We do a lot of entertainment discussion stuff and comedy sketches and short films and things like that. But let's just say he'd said something.
It's been almost 8 years since our last upload to Barnes Bros TV.
So let's just say he's saying something. I could find a point, but it's not that important to find an exact point. You guys will get what I'm trying to do here. Let's just say I'm looking for a moment that he says something, and I want to have like this cool like zoom in on him. The way I actually like to do this is, let me see how do I want to. Let me just cut. It's gonna be easier if I do it like this, and you guys will get it. I'm just gonna cut a small section of this, and basically I want the zoom to start here and to kind of just go quickly, like a woof, and like pop in on him. So I'm probably gonna do 5 frames. Maybe I'll do 10 frames so you can see it. You could keyframe him. You could keyframe it, but this is why I say this is an easy way to do a zoom blur effect. I used to do this a lot with music videos and stuff like that. Let's go over to our effects panel, and we're going to type. What we want to find is the transform tool. So I'm gonna go up there and start typing in. Oh, I'm in the wrong. Actually, let's go to open effects. Okay, let me start over here because I did it wrong. You want to go to open effects when you come to your effects panel. And I'm going to type in transform. And what you want to do is grab this one, Resolve FX Transform, and pull it over here. And this is different than the transform that's over here in your inspector where you're messing with your zoom and position and all that stuff. It's similar but different. You want to go to, now in your inspector, you want to go over to effects, not video. And now you see another one that says transform. I do wish they call these things slightly different names so it wouldn't be so confusing. DaVinci Resolve does that a lot. And we have a whole nother panel of effects we're about to mess with here. So I'm going to check the comments really quick. Let's see, Chris said, yeah, dude, it's sweet. I like what you're doing. You just popped up on my homepage. Figured I'd jump in and check it out. All the best. Thank you so much, Chris. I appreciate you popping in, man, and appreciate the support. And yeah, so if you need any tips with editing stuff at all or have any questions, feel free to ask me, man. That's the whole point. I'm doing this is to help content creators and editors, share some knowledge I know. It's everything I do is really around DaVinci Resolve. But if someone asks me a Premiere question and I can answer it, I don't mind. Because, like I said, I edit in Premiere too. My focus is DaVinci Resolve. So I can answer those questions a little bit better. Let's see here. Okay, so we're going to do the zoom effect. So basically, we're going to start animating this thing. So we have our positions, our X, our Y. What I like to do is set where I want it to land. And then I work backwards. It's just easier for me. You don't have to do it like this, but this is how I like to work. So I'm going to go ahead and move up 10 frames. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's see. Zoom. Yeah, okay, that's what we want to do. So I'm going to click on this little diamond. And when it turns red, it means like recording, essentially, when you're working with keyframes and stuff like that. So then I'm going to move my zoom. You can grab the slider or you can move it clicking here where the numbers are and click and drag. I'm going to zoom in, and I have to kind of do this in, pieces. but let's just say I wanted to go in that much. And then I'm going to click on my X position and my Y so I can get this dialed in exactly how I want it. And I'm going to move it to the left because that's going to focus on my popping on my brother. Went too far. I started getting the black. It's like going off the page there a little bit. Slide that over. And now his head, I need to get him more headroom. So I'm going to slide down. Go to the slide left, but moving down. And let me pull up my guidelines here. It's not going to be perfect, but I'm just using that as like, you know, a little guide. Oops, wrong one. I want to move my X. I can't go that far because I go off the page. But anyways, that's as far as over as I can move. So I've made my recordings essentially, and now I'm going to go back to the beginning. So I'm going to go back here to my start point, and then what I do is I double click on X, and it basically records the beginning. So you see that the red dot, it stayed red. It turned red again because this is what is recording. Then I go back to Y and go do that, go to zoom, double click, and basically we're back at the beginning. Now, when I hit play,
It's been almost.
it went in. Now that was cool. That's fine. That was the zoom. So we technically did it, but that's not the zoom blur effect. We want the blur. And this is where the magic happens. So you come down and you have this toggle wheel drop down arrow thing. I never know what to call that. And you have motion blur. Now you can animate the motion blur too, but a lot of times it's so quick, I think it's fine without it, but you can animate it. But essentially I'm gonna just max it out so you can really see what's happening here. And you can already see the blur that's happening. And that's why I love how this works, because it just automatically does it. You don't have to go get a blur, and then you can build all this out by scratch. But I like the fact that they have this already built in here for that. So now when you watch what happens when I hit play,
It's been almost.
adding that extra motion blur just gives it it makes it a little bit more dynamic. It makes it feel a little bit more, I guess, natural, not as artificial. I always kind of use the thing like, if you look at, oh, my camera died. I didn't even realize that happened. Let me pause for 1 second here to get that back up. But I see that we're so flowing. But just give me 1 second. All right, we are back. Okay, sorry about that. That was I was not paying attention. I did not pay attention to the fact that I didn't have my camera. I want to make sure I'm back. Yeah, I'm back. Okay, cool. All right. All right, cool. So let's see what we got. Get some comments here. Q&A. What's your suggested media backup approach? Do you have a RAID array or anything like that from Chasing Studios? That's a good question. I don't personally have that from like my home stuff. My way of backing up is very not antiquated. It's not antiquated at all. It's actually just like I guess a very grassroots way of backing up. So I tend to have multiple copies. I have an SSD that I work on. So whatever I'm editing or whatever, I have it on that. I also have another hard drive, like a larger hard drive that I can store multiple stuff on. And I will basically back it up on there. So I use that for storage. Then a lot of times when I'm editing a project and I have the SD cards, I won't reuse those SD cards until I'm for sure, like the project is delivered, is done. So I have what I like to call a physical backup, which, I mean, I'm being a little loose with the term there. It's not physical like that, but basically the original media being the SD card. Then I have at least one hard drive backup, sometimes two, depending. Um, at least one hard drive backup. And then I have the SSD that I'm working on. Then for another layer of extra security, if I have the space, I don't usually do this one, but I do have like a couple terabytes of cloud storage that I could put footage in as well. So just depending on what I'm doing, I don't usually use the cloud that often for that, but it's there. Um, if you can get a raid situation, that's cool. Like I said, for the company that I work for, we have, it's not technically a raid, but it's similar. We have like an entire server essentially that we use, that the entire company uses, and we all have basically different servers that we can grab our grab footage off of and stuff like that. But yeah, that's how I personally do my stuff. I just have multiple hard drives for backup, and I like to keep the SD cards too, because I'm like, that to me is like a perfect backup, because it's the original. If you can, like a lot of times I'm shooting the stuff that I'm editing. You know, did I say that right? A lot of times if I shoot, I also edit. If it's a case that it's a project that I didn't edit, well, even in that case, sometimes I still have still have the SD cards, but not always. Okay, but yeah, now we play this
The
through,
skit, it's been almost
and then you see now it has more of an organic type of vibe. And I always like to say, like with motion blur, it just makes things more. Motion blur just makes things like we have motion blur in real life. So like if you take like your hand and just kind of go fast like this and start looking at it, you see like a blur. It's not like it's just as crisp like my hand just went. And I can see like you see a blur between your fingers. It's just kind of how our eyes naturally, work and things like that. So
skit, it's
doing
been
that
almost
is subtle,
skit, it's been almost
and also it's a longer zoom. If it was a shorter zoom, it would seem even more dramatic.
skit, it's been almost
But that's how you do a zoom blur, as I like to call it. So let's see what we got here. You said Chasing Studio said good stuff. Appreciated the Davinci tips today. Blue. Oh yeah, blur zoom is a great effect. Yeah, that one is probably one of my. It gets searched a lot. I did a video about it before a couple years ago, but it's like an effect I really like to use because I don't. It doesn't always get a lot of use that much these days because of the type of stuff I'm editing, but it's a good effect to use. All right, so we hit all the topics that I have for today. But yeah, so thank you to everyone for being here. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in. And if you want to, want more, see more of this, I stream Saturdays around 8:30. And yeah, it's the best time to catch me there. Subscribe, like if you liked it. Hit those notifications because when I go live, it will give you a notification. And that's a little handy dandy thing. Will pop up and say that IBZ Films is live. And I usually make a community post at some point during the week asking, what questions you have. So if you want to be in a loop on that, be sure to subscribe. And like I said, have the notifications on so that way when I make that post, you can go on to the post and tell me what questions you have or things you want me to touch on in that week's live. And like I said, typically I have a topic, but I will do a Q&A section as well if you have questions. But I appreciate everyone for being here. Thank you so much for the support. It was a very active chat, which was super cool. And yeah, that's all I got for this one. But until next time, I will see you guys later. Peace.